All right. So, hello everyone. I'm Kristin Dulaney. I'm a paralegal with Indiana Disability Rights, and I'm also one of the project coordinators for the Supported Decision Making Indiana State Plan. Thank you all so much for being here and for watching this recording. I would like to note before we get started to please introduce yourself when you're speaking. We do have sign language interpreters and closed captions being used, so it's very helpful in identifying who's speaking. And also to please keep yourself on mute when you're not speaking as well. So now I'm going to talk for about 8 minutes about how decision making works, how you can be involved in this project, and then we'll open it up for questions and other comments from the steering committee members. While I'm speaking, if you have any tech issues or questions, please feel free to put those in the chats, and Leo would be happy to help with those. Decision making does not happen in a vacuum. Last year, I purchased a car, and I had a lot of support throughout this process. It started with me going online to a website called Car Gurus. This allowed me to compare different makes and models, look at different prices, learn about different vehicles, and even see which dealerships around Indiana had cars I might be interested in. Once I had a good list, I contacted my dad, because not only do I value his advice on big decisions, but he's also a really good negotiator, and I knew I would need that on the sales lot. Then we spent a whole day driving around different dealerships in central Indiana, and after looking at several vehicles, haggling with the sales guy, and feeling hangry while waiting for the deal to close, I got to drive off in a vehicle that met all of my needs for a reasonable price. This is a great example of supported decision making. I was supported throughout the process by online research, my dad's advice and negotiation skills, and the sales team. But at the end of the day, I got to be the one to choose. Sure, I could get advice from my dad and listen to the sales pitch, but I was allowed to disagree. I could walk away from the deal. I could try a different lot or just scrap the whole thing and keep my old ride. Even though people helped me, I got to be the one to make the final choice. Now, imagine if that was different. Imagine if my dad was my guardian and he got to make the decision. Imagine if he chose the car that I would be paying for. Imagine if he didn't even take me to the dealership. Further, imagine if that was true of all of the decisions I made in my life, including where I bank, where I work, and even who I hang out with. Guardianship is a heavy tool and is the most extreme form of decision-making for other people. Decision-making is a vital part of the human experience, and there are lots of other ways that decisions are made. All of the types of decision-making supports exist on a spectrum, and everything less than guardianship is considered a less restrictive alternative. This includes things like powers of attorney, healthcare representatives, supported decision-making, even medication reminders. Now that we've talked about different kinds of decision-making tools, I'd like to introduce the Supported Decision-Making Indiana State Plan. What has brought us all here today is that in 2019, the Indiana legislature passed Senate Enrolled Act 380, which formalized supported decision-making as an alternative to guardianship. The Administration on Community Living then gave a grant to Indiana Disability Rights and the Indiana Institute on Disability and Community to create a plan to make that legislation a reality. This would improve access to and the use of supported decision-making and other less restrictive alternatives to guardianship for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and older adults. We recognize, though, that the disability community is much wider than that, and we welcome the perspective of all Hoosiers with disabilities. From mental health to deafness to mobility, we want to hear from the disability community in the broadest sense. So far, over the course of a year, we've heard from guardians, providers, and attorneys, but now it's time to hear directly from the communities this will impact most. We want to make sure this plan accurately reflects the needs of people with disabilities and older adults, specifically those from marginalized communities. To do this, we will use a model in which people with disabilities and older adults speak to groups of their peers about the plan, gather feedback, and submit it back to us to be incorporated in the final draft. We need your help. The biggest opportunity that we have is to become a discussion leader. This is an opportunity to help us connect with groups and individuals you think we need to connect with and who would contribute to this conversation. These would be people with disabilities or older adults who would host small groups that would meet for around an hour. This is not a full day listening session or an auditorium of 200 people. Really, it can be as formal or informal as you would like. It can be 3 of your friends or people you hang out with who happen to be on Zoom and let us eavesdrop and take some notes. Or it can be a group that you regularly meet with and you agree to share this information at one of their regular meetings. Don't worry, we will provide materials for you. We'll provide technology support. We'll have a note taker, anything that you would need to help you have a discussion to get the feedback that will make this most impactful. Discussion leaders will also attend a training. We're not going to send you out there clueless as to what's going on. The trainings would be on October 24th and October 28th. And finally, discussion leaders will be compensated for their time, their talent, and their efforts put into leading these discussion sessions. Most importantly, you will help us hear directly from people with disabilities and older adults. If you're interested in the plan, but you're not quite comfortable committing to being a discussion leader, that's fine. We still need people to participate in the discussion sessions. So please consider participating as an individual or helping us connect with a group that would be willing to host a discussion session. To wrap up before I open it up for questions and comments, this project exists because of the passage of Senate Enrolled Act 380. That legislation has put Indiana in a great place to expand the knowledge and use of supported decision-making and less restrictive alternatives to guardianship. Disability and aging organizations across the state have partnered to develop a plan to increase the awareness of less restrictive alternatives, including supported decision-making. But we need your help. You are the members and experts in these communities. Just like I got to make the final decision and drive my car off the lot last year, you too can help drive this plan to include representation of people with disabilities and older adults. Thank you for your help reaching the individuals and groups who need to be involved in developing this plan and making common the use of supported decision-making and less restrictive alternatives a reality in the state of Indiana. Now I'll open it up for questions and turn it over to the steering committee. Leah, do we have anything in the chat?
Not at the moment, Kristin.
Great. Is there anything you all would like to add or expand on?
Kristin, I think you did a really great job explaining everything. I'm not sure that I have additional comments or things to add, except to expand upon the timeline and to let people know that there are additional opportunities to provide input on the development of the state plan. If they are not interested in participating in the discussion sessions, but they do just kind of want to look at the plan and provide comment that way, there are other opportunities throughout the spring and early summer to provide public comment that way as well.
Thank you, Melissa. Any other comments for the recording?
Hello, this is Amber from the Indiana Statewide Independent Living Council. And I had a question and just wondered if someone could elaborate a little bit more on, I know we have this information session, which you did a phenomenal job explaining and going through everything. Thank you so much. And thank you for your additional comments, Melissa. If you could maybe elaborate a little bit more on the role of the discussion leader in getting some additional support and information if they need some help, if they're sort of on the fence. They're sort of on the fence and want to become a discussion leader, but still are kind of unsure about it and want to kind of actually have one-on-one conversation to talk more through it, to answer more specific questions. Where do they go? What do they do? How can they make that happen?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that, Amber. And I would encourage anyone who's considering this to please reach out to me. I would say that I'll put my contact information in the chat, but wherever we post this, I'll make sure that my contact information is widely available. If you're listening, I will say it now and you can write it down, or just click on a link associated with this video. So my email address is kdulaney, which is DULANEY at indianadisabilityrights.org. And you can also call me at 317-722-3476. I would be happy to speak with you or arrange for a member of the steering committee to speak with you as well. We'd be happy to provide any background on the plan, answer any questions that you have, and go from there.
Do you mind repeating the phone number again?
Sure, absolutely. So my phone number is 317-722-3476. Other questions or comments?
This is Amber OHaver again with the Indiana Statewide Independent Living Council. I just wanted to add and let folks know, either viewing this or listening, that you can, if you're not maybe interested in being a discussion leader, or that's maybe you just want to take part in a group and you'd like for someone else to be that facilitator or leader, and you have a really good friend or another peer who you think would be great at it, please feel free to ask them or pull them into this, or recruit your other peers that you think would be really good at this, to kind of pull a group together, or tap into an existing group that they may already lead or have formed from a grassroots level. So I know we have several disability-led groups and entities, either peer support groups or advocacy groups or activist groups across the state that are made up of people with disabilities. And I know there are even some older adult groups also that meet on a regular basis. So it'd be really great to sort of see if we can pull out some of those discussion leaders from those groups to facilitate some discussion and have just some conversation with their peers about this subject matter.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Amber. Well, unless there's anything else, I think we can stop recording.